Please say presence once your name is called. Attorney Russell Mitmug, Vice Chairperson. Honorable members, and this may not be in alphabetical order, MP Attorney Suharto Ambuloddo, MP Abdullah Ahang, MP Abdullah Hashim, MP Abdullah Gayak, MP Abdullah Makapaar, MP Abdul Wahab Pak, MP Ali Sulaiman, MP Dr. Azad Satar, MP Engineer Baintan Ampatuan, MP Basit Abbas, MP Dato Tukaw Masura, CPA, MP Jamila Ramos, MP Eddie Ali,
Present. Ramos.
Present, Eddie Ali.
Present, MP Diamla.
P. Ibrahim Ali.
Yes, present. Present po. Yes, present.
MP Malik,
Ibrahim Ali, present po.
MP Malik Mantawil, MP Dr. Marjani Makasalong, MP Ilani Ulam. Okay.
MP Bato, present.
Okay. Dayaw Sakar, MP Muhammad MP Dr. Muhammad Yakub, MP Adiamna, MP Mussolini Lidasan, MP Said Sheikh,
Present, Assalamualaikum.
Present, MP Anayatin.
noted ma'am, MP Dr. Susan Anayatin,
Present, ma'am.
Rahman Alonto Adyong, MP Adsfar Usman, Mr. Chair, there are 3 members who are physically present, and we have 11 members who signify their attendance.
MP Harun Abbas, present, but not yet called. MP Harun Abbas, present.
Noted, sir. Na-note na po namin yun, sir, via Zoom. So, again, Mr. Chair, in total, we have 14 members who are present physically on Zoom. We would like also to acknowledge the appearance of I would like also to mention the ex-officio members, MP Attorney Ali Pangalian, here. Balindong, I'm sorry, Ali Pangalian Balindong.
Harun Abbas, present.
Noted, sir. MP Hadirul Hasan is here. MP Manang Ali, Majority Floor Leader. MP Attorney Liza Alamia, Minority Floor Leader. Again, Mr. Presiding Chair, we have members both physically and present in Zoom. And we have also the appearance of Secretary General Professor Angkal. So we have 14, sir. 14.
With 14 members, we have a quorum. And we would like to start the panel consultations. Allow me to read the opening message of the chair. He's currently in a very important meeting this time also. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is the message of our chair, Minister Iqbal. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. On behalf of the Bangsamoro Parliament Committee on Education, I deliver a message of reassurance and hope even during these trying times. We at the Ministry of Basic, Higher, and Technical Education are aware of the challenges we face. We recognize that our education standards are not at par with the national standards. We lack essential school facilities, especially in remote areas, and our teachers and personal development and management system needs improvement. Furthermore, dishonest and neglectful practices have undermined governance in this sector. Undoubtedly, the BARM government needs to solve these issues when the education sector is seriously affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we will soon improve and strengthen this region's education system if the Parliament approves the Bangsamoro Education Code, filed as BTA Resolution number 70. As you know, the Bangsamoro Education Code is one of 6 critical legislation mentioned in the Bangsamoro Organic Law or Republic Act 11054. This document signifies our collective vision for inclusive, balanced, relevant, and effective educational system sa Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. More importantly, the Education Code reflects the Bangsamoro people's distinct historical identity, their long struggle to chart their political and economic destiny, and their ambition to build a future where all residents of the BARM, Muslim, indigenous peoples, and the Christians can live together in justice and peace. So what is inside this document? The code essentially defines the authorities and responsibilities of the BARM, the education stakeholders or community, the general public, and all interested parties to develop accessible and quality education in the Bangsamoro. Moreover, the code will shape relationships for effective collaboration among all education stakeholders in the Bangsamoro region. To summarize, the Bangsamoro government envisions an education system that focuses on developing learners or students, where competent teachers uses a relevant and adaptive curriculum. Schools schools are well managed and become safe and creative spaces for learning. All school heads, administrators, and employees are transparent and accountable in carrying out their functions. For this opening message, please allow me to highlight 7 principles that will guide the Bangsamoro government, particularly the Ministry of Basic, Higher, and Technical Education in governing the Bangsamoro education system. You can find these principles in Chapter 3, Section 6 of the proposed Bangsamoro Education Code. First, the Bangsamoro Education Code will ensure inclusivity, wherein all learners, regardless of belief, culture, ethnicities, gender, needs, abilities, and socioeconomic background, will have equal access to quality education. Second, the BARM government will ensure that the system is equitable, or it will guarantee access to educational services and opportunities for all. Third, it is part of the government's obligation to protect the right to receive quality education, and it will treat the said right as an act of justice. Fourth, through the Education Code, the Bangsamoro education system is rooted in the diverse context of learners, educational institution, and communities, including the historical narrative and aspiration of the Bangsamoro people, the indigenous people, and the Christian communities. Fifth, we will ensure that the Bangsamoro education is balanced or anchored on a holistic approach to give importance to a learner's intellectual, spiritual, psychological, and physical growth. Six, the government will establish an integrated education system so learners can seamlessly enter one type of learning stream and graduate from another. And finally, the government will reinforce moral governance or the application of ethical values in managing the education system. Using these principles as a guide, the Ministry of Basic, Higher, and Technical Education will strengthen the educational system and pursue the timely delivery of education and learning services in the region. Furthermore, the Education Ministry is mandated to protect the rights and interests of what the code refers to as the education community. The education community refers to those persons or groups of persons as such are associated in institutions involved in organized teaching and learning systems. It consists of the parents, learners, schools or educational institutional personnel, teaching or academic staff, academic or non-personnel, and non-academic personnel. Improving the education system is not the government's sole responsibility. The whole education community will play a role in its area. Hence, our goal is to develop a strong partnership between the BARM government and various stakeholders across the region to implement the commitments and responsibilities stated in the Education Code. The Education Ministry needs to understand the needs, ideals, and aspirations of the education community. That is why we are conducting these consultations. So members of the education community can share their insights to enhance the draft and ensure its passage in Parliament. I anticipate that many of you here have precise questions that are operational and administrative. While we will try to answer your queries, I want to emphasize that it would be challenging to develop a perfect education code. Nevertheless, the final draft must include the provisions relevant to the Bangsamoro people and have room for improvement. To end my message, I want to thank all of you for attending this consultation. I am confident that we can work together and cooperate towards providing quality, inclusive, and relevant education to our children so that no Bangsamoro child will be left behind. Wasalam, and may we have a productive day. Ladies and gentlemen, especially to the MPs, that was the message of our minister and also the chair of the Education Committee. Next will be a video presentation provided for us so that we can at least have a better understanding of the Education Code. Secretariat.
Why is the new Bangsamoro Education Code truly revolutionary and groundbreaking? Reason number 6, system focused. The goal is to establish a system with highly motivated and competent teachers teaching, using relevant, adaptive, global and future-ready curriculum in learning spaces that are secure, peaceful, healthy and creative, managed in moral governance, generously and adequately resourced, and rooted in the Bangsamoro struggle and anchored on strong community partnership. Reason number 5. Leadership and management is fully integrated. The system fully integrates basic education, higher education, technical education, and Islamic education. There will be no more gaps, incoherence, and lack of focus in policy, programs, and projects. Reason number 4. While autonomous remains connected to the national system, maintains and improves the current system of elementary and secondary education, higher education and technical education. The public schools remain to be an option for parents and children. Reason number 3. Multi-entry, multi-exit, portable global education. As we offer two systems, school and madrasa system, any learner can enter one system and exit from the other system, knowing that what they learn in any system is the same elsewhere and that their credentials are valid everywhere. The Bangsamoro learner is not anywhere disadvantaged. Reason number 2. His education is mainstreamed in elementary, secondary, and higher education, whether in madrasa or public schools. There can be no real education in a situation of conflict and violence. Top reason: because the code responds to the yearning of the Bangsamoro people for the establishment and recognition of Islamic education as a real option. Education is identity. The code will create a complete Islamic education system from elementary and secondary education to higher Islamic education. Now, we can build public madrasa, employ public asatids, produce textbooks, curriculum, etc. One of the defining elements of the educational system in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao is madrasa education. Article 9, Section 18 of the Republic Act No. 11054 or the Bangsamoro Organic Law states that the BARM government shall establish, maintain, supervise Madaris education in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. Furthermore, the Bangsamoro Parliament shall enact legislation that will develop and strengthen the madrasa system. We have that opportunity in the Bangsamoro Education Code, wherein the BARM Education Ministry shall improve both public and private madrasas as a viable option for Bangsamoro learners, including non-Muslims. Article 6 of the proposed Bangsamoro Education Code discusses the Bangsamoro government's vision and plan for the public madrasa system. As mandated by the Education Code, the Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education will ensure that the madrasa education sector will be effectively governed by common standards in areas such as, but not limited to, number 1, development of relevant and appropriate curriculum for Tahdiriya, Upper and Lower Madrasa Ibtidaya, Madrasa Mutawasit, and Madrasa Thanawi. Number 2, use of learning assessment mechanisms. Number 3, the hiring of qualified madrasa teachers and support their professional development. Number 4, use of quality textbooks and learning materials. And number 5, standards for school infrastructure, madrasa management, and quality assurance. Improving the madrasa system would not be possible without vital resources. Hence, the Education Ministry shall ensure that all madrasas meet the infrastructure standards so that there will be necessary support to public madrasas, including but not limited to financial assistance and other forms of subsidy. The Ministry may also provide support to private madrasas, such as scholarships for qualified learners, the school's operational cost, and access to special madrasas development programs. The Bangsamoro Education Code shall also promote the teaching of Islamic subjects and Arabic language curriculum to Muslim and non-Muslim learners in the public school, madrasa, and alternative learning systems. Furthermore, higher learning for Islamic and Arabic studies will be a reality. Islamic study programs, schools, institutes, and universities in the Bangsamoro are possible subject to the Ministry's regulation, like in the public madrasa system. Islamic higher learning shall instill values necessary to realize the Bangsamoro education goals. I want to emphasize that the strengthening of the madrasa system shall not affect non-sectarian and Christian academic institutions' status. As the Bangsamoro Education Code clearly states, the BARM government shall respect sectarian and educational institutions' right to propagate their religious beliefs. Since we envision an educational system that is inclusive and balanced, the Ministry shall not discriminate against sectarian educational institutions in any manner or form. Improving the madrasa system is a long overdue process, and we believe that the madrasa can be a safe space for learning and provide the foundation on which their subsequent education can be based. More importantly, by providing the necessary support, we will address the misconceptions surrounding the madrasa system. We will ensure that anyone who wishes to avail of madrasa education as well as Islamic subjects and Arabic language will receive a holistic education wherein the learner's intellectual, spiritual, psychological, and physical growth is given importance. Among the priorities of the Ministry of Basic Higher and Technical Education is to produce one professional in every Bangsamoro family. By professional, we mean someone who has acquired skills and knowledge to be employed or have a stable livelihood source. To realize this goal, a student after graduating from senior high school should pursue a higher education degree or undergo technical and vocational education and learning. In the proposed Bangsamoro Education Code, we have highlighted vital provisions that would strengthen and improve the higher education and skills and development institutions in the BARM. Both are viable options for all learners wanting to pursue specialized careers and better employment opportunities. Let us first look at what the Education Code stipulates regarding higher education in the Bangsamoro. Article 3, Chapter 2, Section 1 defines higher education as the education after completion of secondary education leading to either a degree or with no degree in a specific profession or discipline. It consists of a diploma, bachelor, master's, specialized postgraduate programs, and doctorate programs. Because we are in the BARM, we will be offering Islamic higher education and support the creation of a tribal university system. Under the Bangsamoro Education Code, the Ministry will have authority over all higher educational institutions in the region. This rule refers to institutions such as state universities and colleges, CHED supervised higher educational institutions, CHED BARM supervised institutions, private higher educational institutions, Islamic higher education and transnational higher education institutions in the BARM, as well as tertiary degree programs in all post-secondary institutions in the BARM. Furthermore, the powers and functions devolved to CHED-ARM on higher education stipulated in Executive Order No. 315, Series of 1996, and its implementing rules and regulations embodied in CHED Administrative Order No. 8, Series of 1996, Republic Act 7722 are transferred to the Ministry. Article 8, Chapter 1, Section of the Bangsamoro Education Code enumerates the Bangsamoro government's obligations on managing higher education institutions in the BARM. As a matter of principle, the BARM, through the Education Ministry, shall protect, foster, and promote citizens' right to affordable quality education and shall take appropriate steps to ensure that education shall be accessible to all, regardless of religion, gender, socioeconomic background, and ethnicity. Moreover, the Ministry shall protect academic freedom and promote its exercise and observance for the continuing intellectual growth, the advancement of learning and research, the development of responsible and effective leadership, the education of high-level and middle-level professionals, and the enrichment of the Bangsamoro people's historical and cultural heritage. Any school, college, or university existing in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region are integral components of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region's educational system. These institutions are free to observe their respective charters. More importantly, the BARM will not curtail the right of sectarian and educational institutions to propagate their religious beliefs. Since we envision an educational system that is inclusive and balanced, the Ministry shall not discriminate against sectarian educational institutions in any manner or form. In addition to higher education, any Bangsamoro learner has the option to acquire relevant knowledge and practical skills through technical and vocational education. It is the policy of the Bangsamoro government to provide relevant, accessible, high-quality and efficient technical education and skills development to produce a high-quality middle-level workforce in the Bangsamoro. By improving technical education institutions in the BARM, we are confident that our technical education and skills development, or TESD graduates, shall become active and productive members of society. In this regard, all TESD programs, irrespective of delivery systems, whether formal or non-formal, shall prepare middle-level skilled human resources by providing general education, technology-related sciences, and related occupational skills training. Under the Bangsamoro Education Code, the ministry shall manage and regulate the technical vocational education and training, or TVET sector in the BARM, through accreditation and registration of all TVET program offerings. Ensure TVET quality through the provision of standards and system development services. Address gaps in the formal TVET sector through the conduct of skills pieces of training in its training centers and the communities. And ensure that the skills development system in the Bangsamoro is responsive and relevant to labor market needs, with good coordination between the demand for and supply of skills. To summarize, the Bangsamoro government is keen to improve both the higher education and technical education and skills development institutions in the Bangsamoro, regardless if they graduated from a traditional college or availed a technical and skills development program. Our goal is to prepare every Bangsamoro learner to become active and productive member of society and participate in a globally competitive workforce. More importantly, it will allow graduates to fully participate in the Bangsamoro's social, economic, and educational opportunities and effectively contribute to our nation's long-term development and prosperity.
Um, Thank you for that presentation. Now we will be breaking into small panel groups, meaning mag-break out po tayo into provincial areas, ano? Para ang goal natin dito is to be able to consult more, then to know concerns from various areas. But for the panel heads na designate natin, pati panel teams, the TWG, andito lang po kami. If may mga concerns, you can type sa chat group, then we will enter your panel discussions para makatulong po. For any other concerns sa panel heads, nandito lang po yung TWG. Then for the panel heads naman, ito na po yung time natin mag-break up into groups. Reminders lang po, yung ating panel discussion is ideally to get more inputs and ideas from our experts and our communities. Secretariat, please allow the panel heads in their groups.
The mic test. Hello, good morning. Good morning po sa lahat ng mga resource person na nandito po ngayon sa Pagana Restaurant na umattend po ng ating public consultation ng the proposed Bangsamoro Education po. Unang-una po, nagpapasalamat po kami sa Secretariat, sa BICAD, Committee on Affairs Division, sa BPI po ng BARM, Bureau of Public Information, at saka sa MIS po ng Bangsamoro Transition Authority, nandito po sila. Also, may representative din po from MBHTE sa katauhan po ng Chief of Staff na si Atty. Tahirnal. Sir, welcome po sa consultation natin. Yung mga resource person po natin na nandito po ngayon, maraming salamat po. At saka sa mga nasa Zoom link po natin, yung mga naimbitahan po natin na umattend, pero virtually nasa Zoom po sila ngayon. So nagpapasalamat din po kami sa inyong pag-attend po via Zoom. Dahil nagkaroon na pa tayo ng nabanggit po ni MP Rasmitmo na makakaroon na po tayo ng provincial so ibig sabihin po nito is meron po tayong sariling Zoom link na kung saan yung mga naimbita po natin na mga different groups, especially sa academe within Maguindanao, Cotabato City, including na po ang 63 barangay ng municipal, 63 barangay na kasama mo sa BARM. Okay, without further ado, I will give the floor to MP Ibrahim Ali representative, which is Attorney Muhaimin Samanudin, to deliver the acknowledgement of resource speakers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for that. That is coming from the office of MP Lidasan, sir, and they're having a program for the Pagana Cotabato. So we would like to acknowledge also the presence of Professor Eddie Ali. He is the focal MP of Tawi-Tawi, sir. So we have also the appearance of, we have also the presence kanina nakita ko
Ano
din.
na lang ito? Kaya ano ko ano si ito?
Currently, we are identifying kasi we have may mga names na different nag-appear. So we're currently updating that para ma-segregate na ang mga groupings.
Please let us know. Please let us know kung okay na yung yung room ng Tawi-Tawi po. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We will.
Thank you, sir. We will.
Excuse me, sir. I mean, we will just take a break lang po muna for the meantime so that maayos po natin yung process po ng program. Would like to welcome MP Dato Musuni Lidasan, our chair panel on this public consultation on the proposed Bangsamoro Education Code. Sir, welcome. Guys, we will just take a break for a meantime.
Hello, everyone. We're back. Yung mga present po, we will call their names. Tapos sabihin lang ninyo saan kayo na group. For example, kung doon kayo bilong sa Maguindanao, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, Lanao, kung may Lanao area, ano pa. So I will give the mic to our IT. Hello po. Paki-unmute na lang later. O pwede din kayo sa chat box for the groupings. Okay po ba yon? Honorable MPs and resource persons, we will call their names based sa online, tapos saan kayo na group. Although we have our record here. Sige po. Okay.
MP Jam Ramos.
MP Diamila Ramos. MP Diamila Ramos. Wala. Baka
Yes, yes. No, I'm here. I'm here, Mr. Chair. MP Ramos here. Can you hear me?
knowledge. Saan po kayo?
Can you hear me po? Meron po bang Lanao? Kasi ang alam ko po sa 27 pa ang Lanao del Sur Public Consultation.
Kasi po may mga breakout rooms na tayo, ma'am. So saan po kayo? Para
Ah, gusto ko lang pong tanong kung meron po bang Lanao del Sur kasi ang information ko po sa 27 pa sila nakaschedule.
yes,
Kung
ma'am.
wala, oo. Kung wala po, sa Maguindanao po ako.
Okay, ma'am. Acknowledge, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello. MP Diamla po. Hello, Mr. Chair.
MP.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Yes, Sir Jamla. MP Jamla. Yes, sir.
Yes, can you read me? Can you read me, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, papaulit po, Sir MP.
Sa Lanao del Sur po kami. Baka sa 27 na kami mag-attend.
Yes, MP, yung Lanao, they scheduled it on the 27th. Pero lahat po nung panels natin ngayon is available for all MPs to attend. Maganda din na makita natin yung processes sa iba. Kasi yung yung panel natin for Lanao, they scheduled it on the 27th po.
Our personality as MP, how shall we be classified? Hello.
MP, please repeat po. Medyo nag-e-echo ng konti lang.
Hearing.
FINMA. Calling the attention of FINMA.
Hello po, good morning.
Yung group kasama, sir.
Actually, we will just take a cue from your end po, ma'am, kung saan po kami pwedeng sumama. FINMA education is spread all over the Philippines, but we have one school in Cagayan de Oro, that's Cagayan de Oro College. And from there, I think we can take off nearer to our location in Cagayan de Oro. I think Lanao del Sur or del Norte is near to us.
Lanao po is scheduled on November 27, sir.
Okay. So we will be joining on the 27th.
Hello, sir. Are you with us po, sir?
Ma'am, sorry po. Medyo mahina po yung audio nyo. I could hardly hear you.
You can join us po, sir. Anyway, nandiyan na po kayo. So you can
Okay
have
po.
the Bustos, Basilan, Maguindanao po, or Tawi-Tawi.
Okay po, ma'am. We will join. Basilan, Tawi-Tawi. Ano yung nearer dito sa Cotabato area, ma'am?
Maguindanao po, sir.
Okay, Maguindanao. We will join in the area of Maguindanao.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alaikum salam.
Ma'am Rufa?
Yes, I'm sorry I can't put on my video because I'm mobile.
Ma'am Rufa, sa Maguindanao po kayo. Isama ka namin sa Maguindanao group po, ha?
I'm mobile.
Anyway, ma'am, we will assign you na lang, ma'am, sa Maguindanao group, ma'am. Ha?
Sorry I can't put on my video because I'm mobile.
Ma'am Rufa, sa Maguindanao po kayo. Isama ka namin sa Maguindanao group po, ha?
I'm mobile.
Anyway, ma'am, we will assign you na lang, ma'am, sa Maguindanao group, ma'am.
Sorry I can't put on my video because I'm mobile.
Maguindanao. Hindi kasi sila nag-record.
Si MP Shaik na sa Maguindanao na lang sila ipasok pakuan, malakas ang signal nila doon.
Pati ito siyempre. Tanong na lang natin.
Si Tayo din ba ito?
Think ko, ma'am, si MP. Wait lang. Assalamualaikum, Honorable MP Ibrahim D. Ali. Sir, may we ask saang group po ang gusto niyong salihan?
I-unmute siya.
Sir, please, unmute niyo muna, sir. Ayan po. Sir, saan po niyo gustong sumali na group, sir? Sa Maguindanao? Sa Maguindanao, sir?
Yes po, yes. Maguindanao po.
Sir, please, unmute niyo muna, sir. Sir, saan po niya gustong sumali na group, sir? Sa Maguindanao? Sa Maguindanao, sir? Yes po, yes, sir. Maguindanao po. Sir, please, unmute niyo muna, sir.
MP card daw. Siya. Okay na. So, sa LB group, dapat magkatao sila mag-answer.
Iya po.
Uh, Hello, may we call the attention of DPC Cardawi M. Abdullah. Sir, maaari po ba naming malaman kung saan grupo niyo po gustong sumali? Para ma-assign na po namin kayo.
Yes po. Hindi ko pa naintindihan masyado kanina kasi nag-vlog.
Okay. Once again, sir, saan po niyo po gustong ma-assign na group? Hindi po namin kayo masyadong maklaro.
Na-miss ko po yung mga groupings. Ano po yung mga group kasi nag-vlog kanina yung kono.
Chapis po, sir. Hindi po man namin maintindihan. At i-tech ko niyo lang po sa chat box para mabasa po namin kasi medyo choppy po yung audio po ninyo. Sir Cardawi Abdullah, sir, meron po ba kayong earphones para marinig namin po? Ang mga groups po na meron, sir, is Maguindanao, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi po, and Basilan.
Okay.
Sir, yung sa Lano del Sur po is scheduled pa po on November 27 po. Pero you can join po.
Okay. So, thank you. Maya-maya na lang. Pwede naman mag-join, di ba? Kahit mamaya pa.
Sige po, sir. Meron naman po kayo.
Hapon.
Saan po kayo mag-join?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sa kwan po yung Maradeka po. Sir, pwede po kayong sumali po sa ibang groups. Meron pa pong Basilan, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, and Maguindanao. Kasi sa 27 pa po ang schedule ng Lanao. Once again, Maradeka Incorporated, pwede po kayong sumali po sa iba. May we call the attention of the account holder of Ompong? May we know your identity and where you are connected? Thank you.
Senator K. Hindi ko titigyan. Ako kami? Atau ini kami? Minute na doktor? Di-share niya na kami ito. Di-share niya na kami ito. Pues kaya pagkasasay kita. Kaya pagkasasay kita. Di ba? Pasyan mo na? Ya, mo di pa ijata yung mga may. Hindi kayo mo. Dito. Dito, kinigito niya. May ba? Ay, ano to? Nagdigaling niya. Assalamualaikum. Hindi namin kayo marinig. Hindi ko na ito. Kanya mo man sa ultimasa iya. Okay, sama. Okay. I-mute ko sa makisa. You are muted. Skip na. Yes,
the August body to allow me to read my position paper.
Yes, ma'am.
Assalamualaikum.
Yes, ma'am.
May I request the August body of the may I request the August body and the honorable.
Yes, ma'am. You can so please po.
You may proceed, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Superintendent Balawag, medyo may problema po tayo sa network connection niyo po. Hello, hello ma'am, may problema po tayo sa connection po ninyo. Okay. Papark lang muna natin si si Dr. Balawag. We will proceed to from PINMA Education, Jerry Cano. Hello, Sir Jerry.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Can I be clearly heard?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear po, sir.
Thank you very much. With the kind permission of the Chairman of the Bangsamoro Parliament and to our Commissioner of the Commission on Higher Education, Commissioner Adamat, sir, good morning. And to all the members of the Parliament, guests, and to anyone, to all of us who are in this breakout room, good morning. I am Jerry Canio, the Dean of the Criminology Education of FINMA Education Network, Cagayan de Oro College, and I also sit in the technical panel of the Criminal Justice Education of the Commission on Higher Education. My first inquiry is with the kind indulgence of the Chairman of the Committee on Education of the Bangsamoro Parliament, I just would like to inquire as to how the process of the education code that the Bangsamoro Parliament is contemplating. Would it be that the program standards and guidelines issued by CHED to all tertiary programs will be also consolidated and be form part of that code? And are there any room for us also to provide suggestion that would somehow uplift the program delivery, particularly in the tertiary? But I am more concerned on the criminal justice programs, namely the Bachelor of Science in Criminology, Bachelor of Science in Industrial Security Management, and Bachelor in Forensic Science. So these are the three programs under the criminal justice education in which I am a part of. All of these programs that I have mentioned have already program standards and guidelines, and if the Bangsamoro Parliament would want us to contribute on this for the enhancement of these PSGs, we would be glad to contribute and take part of that, because all of these PSGs are basically provided as minimum guidelines or minimum standards set by the Commission on Higher Education. So that's the first inquiry that we would like to somehow relay to the committee for us to know where can we somehow effectively participate in this process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Jerry. Recorded po ng yung mga ano nyo po, suggestion po dito sa ano namin, sa venue. Okay, any of the resource person from Zoom, you may speak or render your comments, suggestion or recommendation of proposed Bangsamoro Education Code. Okay, yung iba po na medyo mahina po yung signal, you can chat po para sa nababasa din po namin. Okay, who's next? Okay, we will go to Hamana Sinangkad from Buluan, Maguindanao. Sir, good morning, sir. You may proceed.
Okay, so good morning. Narinig po ba, sir?
Loud and clear po kayo, sir. Medyo lakasan nyo lang po yung boses nyo.
Okay po. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. So, I am Hamana Sinangkad, the College Secretary of Regional Madrasa Graduate Academy and Higher Education it was created noong 2004 by virtue of Muslim Mindanao Autonomy Act 164. So, kuan lang sir, no? Nakita ko po dun sa proposed Bangsamoro Educational Code is the attachment of REM Academy to higher education po. So, ang kuan ko lang sir is, kasi as of now, is ang REM Academy ngayon is under the supervision of Office of the Chief Minister by virtue of Executive Order 003. Nung kakalabas lang po nung April 3, 2020. So, based doon po sa nakita namin doon sa proposed educational code is upon the approval of the educational code, the REM Academy will be attached directly to the office of the MBHTE. So, may kuan lang po, may suggestion is kasi presently under the OCM po. So, although ang REM Academy is higher learning of education, so nasa OCM siya, so hindi masyado na-address yung kanyang hindi masyado na-address especially yung trainings, programs and other programs na exclusive for sa education. So nakita namin kasi although kung i-attach natin ang REM Academy sa educational code, but yung batas pa rin, yung MMA Act pa rin yung gagalaw. So nakita namin, so we need talaga na may strengthen yung batas ng 164, yung MMA 164 kasi unang-una kung titingnan natin po yung structure ng REM Academy as of now is mas higher yung salary grade ng president kaysa kay chief minister. Kasi doon sa MMA Act 164, nakita natin na salary grade 30 yung president ng REM Academy. So kung titingnan, mas mataas pa kaysa sa kay chief minister. Then the next is yung kasi ang REM Academy ngayon is kung titingnan natin yung batas mismo is nakatutok lang siya sa graduate school. So nakita rin natin na why not kasi ipo-focus natin dito sa REM Academy yung aquaculture at saka agriculture kasi ang REM Academy as of now is nasa gitna ng dalawang malaking lake like the Ligawasan Mars and the Buluan Lake. So nakita namin na isali natin yung aquaculture sa REM Academy na ipo-focus niya. Then the third ones na nakita namin is yung composition of the Board of Trustee. Kasi kung titingnan natin yung composition ng Board of Trustee is 5 lang. So si President is, ang nangyari kay President is wala siyang voice doon sa Board of Trustees kasi ang nangyari sa kanya is only secretary lang si President doon sa Board of Trustees. So ang sa amin is doon sa composition of the Board of Trustees
with the ROTC.
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me,
Kumasalam.
sir? Naririnig niyo ba ako, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Opo. You may continue, ma'am.
Okay. I am Ana Karima Haji Hassan from Marawi City Division. Head. I am just concerned, sir, about the special education kasi after I have watched the video about the Bangsamoro Education Code, wala po ni isa na about sa special education, which is kailangan din natin na matingnan yung mga bata na may mga special needs na dapat din nasa classroom din sila kasi one of the main ideas about inclusive education is about no child will be left behind. So yung mga bata din na may mga needs, special needs, katulad ng mga bata may mga disability, kailangan din sila, sir, na maisama sa Bangsamoro Education Code, which is marami din yung pangangailangan din nila para matugunan din sila. Kailangan natin ma-focus yung first is yung dumami yung mga special education teacher within Barm region. We have established a SPED program in ARM during ARM in 2014, sir. So gusto ko sana, sir, na yung ngayon sa BARM is mabigyan din ng pansin yung special education kasi marami na ngayon yung nahahanap na natin ng mga bata na kailangan nilang ng special education. So sana po, sir, mapakinggan yung kagustuhan namin, kahilingan namin ng mga special education educator na sana yung special education mabigyan din ng focus kasi not only in our region, the Lanao, not only in Marawi City Division kasi within the entire BARM region. So since ARM pa na times, may 5 division na nakapag-comply on the implementation of special education, which is the Basilan, Tawi-Tawi, Sulu, Marawi, and Maguindanao. So sana po within this BARM, lahat po ng division na included po sa BARM will implement special education po. So sana po mabigyan natin ng pansin yung mga batang kailangan nila yung special education kasi talagang kami yung pinaka left behind na sector of basic education. So yun lang po muna ngayon, sir. Thank you and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, maraming salamat po from Haj Hassan ng Marawi City. Noted po lahat ng sinabi niyo po. Thank you so much po. Okay, anybody from listener natin from CCSPC, nagtaas na ng kamay? Hello, Sir Pendaliday. You can proceed na po. Please, sir, paki-unmute po yung ano nyo.
Okay, ako na po.
Kayo na po, sir. Kayo na po, sir. Magandang umaga po, sir. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Ako na po, sa CCSPC na po.
Yes, sir. You may proceed po. Kayo na po, sir.
Clear po ba yung aking pasok dyan?
Habang nagsasalita po kayo, sir, clear naman po.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh po. To the good commissioner and the BTA member of this room, again, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I am just only asking on the Article 9 of the Basic Rights, particularly on education, on the Republic Act 11054,
people is a necessity. So that the creation of this education code must be anchored to Article 5 of BOL. The powers of government is subject to Section 20, Article 10 of the Constitution, or by the national law, and it shall be vested in the national government. So towards the realization of these objectives and pursuant to the Constitution and existing laws, it is worthy to reiterate the following fundamental principles to be considered to it. So number one is priority to education. So I will not read some of the explanation about this because of time. So, but I will be showing to you. I will be showing to you our PowerPoint so that we can read it thoroughly. So,
Secretariat, yung share screen po.
may I ask to give me time to present.
Secretariat, I think Ma'am Balawag needs access to share screen. Okay, thank you.
Okay na? Okay, so tulungan mo ako ganyan. So, Mr. Chair, Honorable Chair, so this is now my PowerPoint presentation to this one. So number one is priority to education. And second is accessible quality education, because our mandate is to give the best quality education for our Bangsamoro learners, because our foremost task is to raise the quality education of our Bangsamoro. Now, number three is integrated system of education. Number four, the alternative learning systems. Number five, adult education. Number six, complementary roles and reasonable regulation. Number seven, academic freedom of institutions. And then academic freedom of students. Number nine is professional development of teachers. Moreover, it is viewed that a code highly appreciable and applicable, it must comply with the following conditions. Number one, it must be written in clear language. Number two, it should be easy to understand. Number three, it must not conflict with or contradictory to any other laws. Number 4, it must be enforceable. Number 5, the penalty thereof for any violation must be clear and reasonable. Number 6, its effectivity shall be stated clearly. And these are my references, no? The 1987 Philippine Constitution, Article 14. So next, number 7, it must encourage us to right thing and punishes those who violate society's values. And number 8, it should be for the protection of individual and collective rights as well as promoting fairness, order, and stability in the workplace. Guided by the above-mentioned fundamental principles and the Batas Pambansa bilang 232, otherwise known as the Education Act of 1982, and other existing rules and regulations and DepEd issuances, the undersigned is respectfully submitting the herein position paper. And here are my comments or recommendations on the proposed Bangsamoro Education Code. Title number 2, the Education Community. This is Chapter 2, Bundle of Rights. So, I recommend that the inclusion of child protection policy be emphasized. Section 5, the right of learners in school education institution. With the issuance of DepEd Order Number 40, Series of 2012, entitled Child Protection Policy, which promotes a zero tolerance policy for any acts of child abuse, exploitation, violence, discrimination, bullying, and other forms of abuse. It is respectfully recommended that the same right of learners shall be embodied in the Education Code. The purpose of the child protection policy of the DepEd is to provide special protection to children who are gravely threatened or endangered by circumstances which affect their normal development. Now, in Chapter 3 of the Education Code of the BARM, MBHTA, is the duties and obligations. Now, Section 13, you can find there the school administrator's obligation. So the inclusion of the specific powers, duties, and functions, which is in line with the enumerated functions in Republic Act 9155, otherwise known as the Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, more particularly from the regional level down to the school level, is hereby recommended, which provides. Okay, so we will. I will skip the secretary at the national level and the regional level. So we will go straightly to consistent with the national educational policies, plans, and standards. The schools division superintendent shall have authority, accountability, and responsibility of the following, or we call that the aura. One is developing and implementing division education plans. So we have number 2, planning and managing. So I will emphasize here number 3 only. Kasi yung number 4 and number 5, number 6, that is existing already. That is being practiced by the superintendents under BARM. But here is in number 3. This is not existing even in the former ARM, like the hiring, placing, and evaluating all division supervisors and school district supervisors, as well as all employees in the division, both teaching and non-teaching, including school heads, except for the assistant division superintendents. So in Republic Act 9155, the full-fledged superintendent who is appointed by the President of the Philippines and holding assessor is the appointing authority for level 1 and level 2 positions. So this is in Republic Act. But in the existing in the last year, not last year, no? In the former arm, so ito yung number 3 na hindi po nagagawa ng mga superintendents because I know that they are not a presidential appointee because only presidential appointee